Welcome everyone. I'm Zephy Davy and this is my channel on YouTube. And with me is Sandy Reeves. I hope I say that correctly because
Reevy, but it's okay.
Reevy,
Yeah.
and I always forget that is instead of Reeves is Reevy. And we're here coming together to talk about Jupiter and Uranus, this crazy conjunction that is going to happen and is going to affect all of us in a really crazy way. Welcome, Sandy. It's already started.
Hey, right, right, exactly. Thanks, Effie. Yeah, all the astrologers and any light worker really is watching this Jupiter making its way to Uranus. And these two come together once every 14 years, right? So it was very personal to me 14 years ago because it hit my natal sun. And so it's really interesting, with my client work and looking at people's charts, and particularly if you know your own chart, where do you have 21 degrees of Taurus in your natal chart? First of all, everybody has it somewhere. It's somewhere in everyone's natal chart, whether they have a personal planet there or a sensitive part or an angle, right, like the ascendant or the midheaven. But it's happening in somewhere in your natal house structure. So let's just kind of go over. In fact, for a more in-depth review of the Jupiter Uranus, I just recorded a webinar that's on my website. It's free. It's a free offer, and you would go to intentionbeads.com/webinars, and it's the first one listed there. And it's a slideshow. It really talks about, if you have a this rising, it's going through your second house. It really gets into a lot of personal connections. And of course, even on my website, there's casting your free chart. If you know your birth data, you can get a free chart on my website. Anyway, let's get into this Jupiter Uranus because this begins a brand new cycle for 14 years. It's like 14 years can sound like a lot, but it's a decade and a half, right? That sounds like a longer time, right? So this doesn't happen very often, and certainly Jupiter is a faster of the two planets. Let's just kind of review this. Uranus takes 84 years to go around the zodiac signs, and then Jupiter takes 12 years to go around the zodiac sign. So by the time Jupiter gets around the 12 years, Uranus has moved along a little bit, so it takes another 2 for Jupiter to connect that. And sometimes there's 3 connections, the retrogrades, right? If Jupiter is retrograding in an area of the sky where Uranus is, they'll get 3 hits, which was the case back in 2010. And that's the one that hit me directly and changed literally, we were just talking about before we got on, changed my projection. I started my company, my spiritual talisman company, and that moment when Jupiter Uranus hit my sun, and I changed my trajectory of my life, right? It told me to start making talismans and calling them intention beads. So really pay attention to the messages that are coming in that you think they're coming in from nowhere, right? They're coming from somewhere, right? They might be up there, right? They could be your subconscious talking to you, literally tapping you on the shoulder. But if we think about experiencing this, is already in action, right? About a month before, so about a month ago, which would have been this like March period, all of April, we get the exact hit on Saturday night here in the United States. It's in the evening. It's around 9:30 p.m. on April 20th. 2024, and then a month after, when it's still within a range of acknowledgement of what opportunities are coming in, what offers are being suggested, some ideation thoughts. We have to think about that. Jupiter, Zeus, right, and Uranus are the 2 sky gods, right? They're the sky gods. So they're looking toward the future, right? They're looking toward the innovative, the what's next. scenario. So, here we are, we can't stay static, right? Whatever we've built, whatever walls you know this, whatever walls we've built and feel comfortable in, that Uranus can come in and, um, I'm going to talk about the glyphs of these two planets. And, let's start with Jupiter. Jupiter, to me, it looks like a fancy four, right? It's like this beautiful fancy four, but it also has what looks like like a cornucopia or a satellite dish, right? Like, and it's the crescent moon, and it's about wanting to gain more. I mean, it's Zeus. We know how much he wanted to give of himself to have more of him in the world. So Jupiter definitely is the planet of prosperity and growth and hope and opportunity and optimism and exuberance, right? And just more, right? Although we can expect too much and be disappointed. So there are shadow sides of these guys, right? But Jupiter wants us to have this abundance, right? Which is such a beautiful word in our world. And then Uranus, if we look at the glyph of, and I show this on my slide presentation, the glyph of Uranus looks like, it's got this pendulum, right? Kind of like whether it's a grandfather clock or it's this wrecking ball. And when I was learning astrology 20 something years ago, right? It's a wrecking ball. And it was like this pendulum swinging. What's it going to break down, right? What is it going to break through? And the reason for that, right, is, Saturnian energy that we build a wall. Uranus comes around and says, no, be free. Have new experiences, be free, have this innovative energy to bring new thoughts in and in abundant ways, right? So I called my webinar, erratic luck, right? Because it's kind of the rabbit foot of Jupiter of a lucky scenario or a silver lining to something that needs to break apart, break down, break up. So, watch for relationships that aren't healthy, right? Relationships that you've had a hard time getting out of, it may just crumble, right? It may just, but see the silver lining in all. There's silver lining in all of this. We know how to make lemonade out of, we
Yeah, but
know that term.
if something
Yeah.
breaks down, no matter what that is, and for the older generation, we kind of know there's always we can build something even better. Now the younger
hmm
generation is learning through that, but if they follow their instincts and their intuition, they see that no matter what breaks down, it always gets fixed or gets better.
hmm Right. There's more opportunities than that one that you connected to. In other words, don't be so stubborn, and don't be so stubborn to hold on to the side of the wall that is crumbling down. Let go, move to the center and see what the possibilities are. There's other people there because it's happening to all of us.
Okay. Well, as an Aquarius, I know what Uranus means. I live it every day. I'm
Constant change.
break through things.
Yeah, constant change. Like there isn't much,
In a sense. There's not,
mhm,
I live it all the time in my life. And I
right. And
love
so for you, and actually, yeah, for you, you have to find your center within yourself, not around yourself.
with the chaos of Uranus. I have to find my center.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You inside, because the outside could be and if you're relying on structures to lean against or a chair to sit in, you're on the floor, you've fallen on the floor, I agree with that. So when we think about the expander or the abundance planet coming together with the awakener, right? It holds kind of this like awakening expanse, a beneficial rebel, right? Because Uranus is the rebel. It's like, oh no, you don't. It's about individuation, right? Uranus signifies humanitarian rights. So this is a benefit for those that want to speak their authenticity, right? There's more of a connection for the humanitarian issues here, because that's what Uranus represents. It's everybody, right? Doesn't matter color, race, religion. It doesn't matter about any of that. We're walking the earth. We're called humans. Right. In some of the other astrologers, we're talking about, an excitement of a breakthrough, the ultimate innovation, out of the blue situations occurring, right? So when you weren't expecting something and something shows up, pay attention. That's Jupiter Uranus talking to you, right? It's obviously going to come through other people or other situations or opportunities, but literally mine came to me 14 years ago when I was in a garden. I was planting flowers and I was the only one in the whole yard. And I thought somebody was coming up behind me, whispering in my ear, and I fell forward because I thought, and I stood up and I broke all the flowers I was beginning to plant because it was right around Memorial Day. Well, it was Memorial Day weekend of 2010 when we were having this. And I stood up and got the download that I'm supposed to be making talismans and I'm supposed to call my company intention beads, and went inside and started literally downloading what spirit was telling me. I didn't even, and I still use that writing today for how to manifest your desire. But there was nobody there, right? So it could come in through your spirit, your spiritual center. It's
Also,
just, yeah.
oh no, go ahead. Finish that for your sentence.
Well, I was just going to say, we live in a world that we are everything when we arrive as a baby, but it's through timing, and as an astrologer, it's through timing of our life that we are given new opportunities, right? Like,
Okay.
right? And is that opportunity hitting you right now, right?
It's
Pay
also,
attention.
it's called the awakener. We're going through this awakening process in humanity, and we would keep waiting for someone to slap us, like literally slap us, but the slap can come out of nowhere, like yours. Someone spoke to you and you're like, what's going on? And you did it, and you create what you created. So that's what I said. Maybe for the older generation and for the healers that we've been doing this work, and astrologers, we've been doing this work for a long time, we do have those experiences. So now the younger ones need to kind of listen and follow this experience of where it's going to take them next, because there might be the new generation is coming up to it now.
Right. So they have this opportunity to, and they have a lot more of the innovative uh, techniques, especially technology that we did, right?
We had
And
nothing.
actually, it was funny because one of the slides talks about we had the last one was in Pisces, and that was 2010. We got 3 passes because Jupiter was making his retrograde and hitting Uranus 3 times. And the one prior to that was February of 1997 when it was happening at 5 degrees Aquarius. That was hitting in your range. And that was one pass, right? So that was one specific like 2-month period. But the one prior
1997.
to that, in
1997.
1997.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you can consider that of that, say January, February, March period of that time, what kind of jolted you into a new scenario that was lucky. It may not have seemed that way at the beginning, right? Because it's Uranus, the wrecking ball's coming in, and then Jupiter says, here, this is what you're going to do with it, right?
That's when I
And one
became
prior to that,
actually, like
oh,
I started working as a healer. I had done all the practices, I had done everything, and that's when I got full blown doing what I do today.
see? And I got it 14 years later.
Yeah.
And I'm older than you. Like, but again, it was the time for you to be awakened. I wasn't ready, apparently, right? Like it wasn't like spirit knew when I spindled down from the earth into the body that I was going to have this awakening in 2010. Yours was predicted before you got here, right? In 1997. And you were you woke.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he did the call. And that's the important thing. That's what we're trying to get across to people, right?
And the good thing is I haven't turned back. I think that's another perfect message. Once this Uranus Jupiter happens, you don't look back. You just go forward and you continue the same thing.
Yeah, because it's the future,
Exactly.
right? It's already broken down our past, and it's the only way to the uh, out is the future,
Exactly.
right? Um, we are not depressed people. We don't want to stay in a rubble, a broken down house of rubble, right? We know that for a fact for you. But it was really interesting because, in 1983 was the prior time. My son was born during that time, so he has this, and he just always seems to land on his feet,
Mm.
right? He might have a situation and then land on his feet. So there's people that have this in their natal chart. So any baby being born right now, or the last month, or the month coming up, has this in their natal chart, this Jupiter Uranus. And I want to give you a couple, and I go into more detail on my webinar, but would it be surprising to know that Steve Jobs has this in his natal chart, Jupiter Uranus? And, I have a quote from him that he wrote. I want a quote from Steve Jobs, who is the first big, massive, he's Apple, right? This is Apple computers. He said, I want to put a ding in the universe. So if I turn my phone on right now, or, how many phones are dinging around the world? So he certainly brought this innovative technology, the science, this newness, using the frequency, using what's available, not just on land, but in the sky. It's the sky gods. It's frequencies. So pay attention to the wind that's coming through, and breathe, blowing up your, I don't want to say skirt, but that was the image I got of paying attention to something that is a little different than a normal breeze,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
The next 3 months
Um,
will be very amazing, I think.
oh
For
my gosh, and
not just in us, in the humanity, but in the whole world, it's going to really change a lot.
yeah, and so, we can't, and in 14 years from now, when we get on again and talk about this again, because I want to be here for all this, right?
Too.
And it's totally doable. I don't know about the second one after next one, but everybody, the fact that there's new stuff coming, but that also means that people that have been here a while leave the planet, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an easy passage. Jupiter is about travel. It's about, astral projection, right? It's people that are willing to, that have done their work, right? And, you and I both have, parents, a mother still on this planet, and, wouldn't surprise, if you or I had a phone call one day. I mean, it's going to happen. Duh, we know that. But, it's just kind of like there's something new going on for creating freedom within our own selves, and the freedom to make commitments,
Yeah.
the freedom to break commitments, right?
And
I
my
want to
mother
just
is
kind
a
of,
Taurus. My mother is a
and your
Taurus.
mother's a Taurus, yeah. And my mother's an Aquarius, and so that's a square. So, one of the things that I get into on the webinar is, if you have this combination and it's happened at 21 degrees of Taurus, and so really we want to stay within a 2-degree orb on either side. So that's, 19 Taurus to 23 Taurus. We want to stay in that. If you have a planet, a personal natal planet there, it's going to hurt. It's going to hit you personally.
Yeah.
That's going to make a massive personal change in your life, depending on the planet that is, right? Mine was my sun. This is the ruler of my chart. It's how I project myself into the world. And I closed one business and opened another business. If it's a opposition, which opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. So if you have a 19 to 23 Scorpio planet, or a square, these are the two tense, stressors. And the squares would either be a Leo or an Aquarius at 19 to 23 of those two signs. Those are the 90 degrees or the 180s. This will going to create tension to make you do something, right? It's going to uh, I don't want to use the word force, but I want to give you a source. It gives you source to produce something of now or never. What are you going to do? You're at a crossroad. Are you going right or left because you can't stay here? It's kind of like, the police officer going, all right, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, and you don't want to move, right? But yet, if it's an opposition or a square, you need to. If it's a trine or a sextile, it allows a harmonious flow of earth energy. It's happening in Taurus. So um, um, to give you this, the senses, the Taurus energy is all five senses. It's tactile.
Yeah.
You can smell it, you can hear it, you can taste it, you can see it, you can touch it. It has this um, like tangible feel to it. Really, it's one of the aspects that all the astrologers are they're more leaning into it than leaning away from it. Like, oh boy, there's a lot of when we get some of the slower moving planets when they make conjunctions, there's always a beginning of a new cycle. Yeah, that needs to get something out, right? Breaking up.
Less of the truth,
Um,
as we say in Greece.
blessing. Yeah. So, I want to read something. So I want to, I'm the intention bead lady, right? But I came up with a kind of a universal intention and a universal affirmation that, of course, I'm making talismans for. But you could just put this in your own language for your prayer that's using this energy, particularly start using it immediately and using it as often as you like. But an intention to embrace the unexpected, allowing cosmic surprises to weave magic, right?
I like it.
And the affirmation, and that's the goal, right? To like embrace the unexpected, because that unexpected will and allowing the cosmic surprises to weave magic. You don't know how it's going to be knitted or weaved or constructed. It's kind of like the spider webs. They're all different, like a snowflake. They're all different. And so no two are alike. But the affirmation, the prayer to get that energy is, I welcome these breakthroughs. My ideas blossom into sustainable solutions that benefit you and me. It has to benefit others along with self, right?
Well,
So,
because of Uranus, you have to benefit others. It's not just the lonely road anymore, or the self, let me just do it all on my own. We're going towards community anyway. This is what's happening. We're supporting each other. That's the most important thing. As an Aquarius with Uranus, I have to think about things.
Right. And I want to say one last thing that as we kind of finish here, part of that Jupiter is about, when I said expansion, it means journey. Go take international travels.
Yes.
If you're here where I live in the United States, go other places, see what the cultures are, see what those people do that you've just read about or seen in the encyclopedias when we were kids, right? Or like if you're in Greece or if you're in another country, go travel, see what other cultures are doing. This allows us to become not separatists, like you said, but collectives. We are together. We can smile. We can share a meal. We can understand. We can eat your food. We can go check out your temples. Go expand. And of course, we're doing the Egypt trip.
Yes, we are.
And we're getting full. We're getting full.
You're right.
We're more than halfway full. And so this is, Sandy and Zephy taking, well, it's really I've never been to Egypt. So I'm going on this journey with you, 10 days in Egypt. And that's all on the website as well. All the journeys, the cost, the price, and the dates I just want to give them are October 9 through the 19th. So it is a nice 10 days of doing a lot of movement in a lot of temples, which this is your backyard.
It is.
It's a play, your personal
Playground,
intuition play. Yeah, playground. Mm-hmm.
spiritual playground. I think I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
being in Aquarius with Uranus, I'm going to travel a lot this year. It's must.
Mm-hmm.
It's a must. So, this trip is going to be an amazing. Please join us because we're going to have a lot of fun. Me and Sandy always have a lot of fun, as you can see. We laugh a lot.
We do.
Yeah, so we will play, but also do a lot of spiritual work and have fun and enjoy something that you have never seen before, or even if you see it, because we have a couple people coming and they've seen it before, but they still want to come with us just to the renew whatever they learned. So
Mm-hmm.
this is our trip. It's coming up.
It's coming up. All right. Yeah, so enjoy this awakening. What's to happen is supposed to happen. Allow it to weave your magic.
And if you get shaken up, it's okay. It's okay to be shaken up. It's good. It's a good feeling.
Hey, roller coasters can be frightening, but they're fun when we get off.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us. And please don't forget to check the website underneath this video so you can get your free gift from Sandy. And I'm so glad that she did this an hour webinar so you can understand a little bit more about what's going on with you. And also for your chart, she's got a free thing that you can do your
Chart,
chart.
it creates a cast your chart for you
Yeah.
for free.
And check our trip to Egypt. And then mine is coming up for, how do you say it? Mary Magdalene, south of
Mhm.
France, be in a month. So take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Zephy.
Bye, honey.